of being, they are lost in doing. And the primordial doing is thinking. And then you miss the now, which is inseparable from being.
You too.
So
Thank you.
I invite you as we speak, or I speak, or the speaking happens. I don't know who is speaking, something is speaking. And invite you here and now to become aware of being. Here and now. Now. How does some of you may just, as I say these words, which are only pointers, like signposts, as I say these words, some of you may be able to sense their own beingness. You sense that you are. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about yet, you're still trying to understand it mentally, let me take you then gradually into being. Let's become aware of this moment. And the first thing you become aware of in this moment is sense perceptions. Visual, auditory, and then some of the others do tactile and so on. But the predominant sense perceptions are the visual and the auditory. You hear and you see. So this is you're becoming aware of the present moment, which has taken the form of sensory perception. Here and now, and you look around the room, or you see this person, so-called person, sitting on a chair, and you can take in the totality of the room. Question that arises is, are you able to take in the totality of your sense perceptions in this moment without any mental commentary? Just be maybe like a 1-year-old child hasn't learned language yet and just looks in wonder and amazement at the world. You don't have to look like that, I'm just... So you look around in the innocent perception without, is it possible for you, only you can answer that for yourself, but not through words, through just a knowing. Are you able to be here in this moment?
Give me your scared face.
Allow your sense perceptions to be there.
Elated.
Being aware of all these things without commenting mentally, without interpretation. Just let it be. Like the Beatles song, let it be. And there's a shift in consciousness that's already happened, because when you interpret your sense perceptions, that's the conditioning of your mind. It's a person perceiving things. But when you don't interpret, there's still a knowing there, but not conceptual. There's a deeper knowing.
Huh? What'd you say?
But the person isn't there really at that moment when you're not commenting, not interpreting, not imposing some kind of interpretation of the world. Then the person that was there before when you were commenting has been replaced by awareness or presence. So there was a person, but then the person comes to an end temporarily, and they simply,
Yeah, a lot of people like to
what is
listen
perceiving this
to
room when you are not
his talks,
commenting
like
according to the
laying down with
conditioning
their
of your
eyes
past.
closed or sitting with their eyes
What is
closed.
perceiving this awareness itself.
Yeah, some like to
So
lay down
something
and
has-
play like some of the
something
noises,
has
like brown noise
receded
or ocean waves or something in the
the person,
background. Just lay down
and
and close
something
your
else
eyes.
has arisen to replace it, so to speak. Awareness. That awareness is very
It's
still.
again a sense perception.
Stillness
yeah.
is sometimes one can in spiritual discourse. Stillness is another important term. It's just another pointer. It's stillness. So, and that stillness is not a sleepy stillness. It's an alert stillness. And so a shift has taken place from being a conditioned entity, conditioned by the past, and now the shift has happened, and suddenly
Yeah, after
just
those, I think we're going to just
you are that
then
space of awareness.
see the.
And so
Yeah, those
the
are kind
next
of
step
ongoing
in
experiments with it.
presence, you're not just
Yeah, well, I mean, hopefully
you
it helps
are
others see
aware
that are trying to make
of your
those
sense
decisions, like
perceptions, and
see
you're
how
not labeling.
insane. I don't
But
think
you're
just
also
many that
aware
haven't had the experience or
of the awareness
exposure to
itself.
those kind of things can have a hard time seeing
through
that.
which you are able
But it
to
doesn't
be aware of
necessarily mean
sense
they have to have the
perceptions.
experience or exposure
You're aware
to
of-
come
of
to
your-
those understandings.
let's say,
It can
words are
just
very
maybe take a
limited,
little
but we
bit
have to
more
use them.
information.
You're aware of the being of yourself, the presence that makes
gonna be
sense
a long
perceptions
story?
possible, the presence of consciousness that makes sense perceptions possible. And you
I'm
can sense
busy.
that not as a subject-object relationship, although when we talk about it, it sounds like a subject-object relationship because language operates in that way. Language has a subject and an object, so as you use language, you say, I am aware of awareness. That creates a duality that's not really there. When you talk about it, there's an I that is aware of awareness, so there's two of you, but there isn't. It's only when you start talking about it. If you become aware of yourself as awareness itself, awareness becomes self-aware, whatever you want to call it. But that is an amazing thing that you are able to enter that, even if it's just for brief moments. For brief moments you can become free of the person. Oh my God, that heaviness, that burden that people carry around, that they are so identified with, that they are that heaviness. And that's why many persons, their identity is intimately bound up with this burden of problems that they have to figure out how to solve my life problems. So for many people, their identity is, I am a problem to be solved, that's seeking a solution. And then you go to a therapist. However, if it's the therapist is present, that makes a huge difference. But I don't know. I'm sure there's some therapists here, and some of you are probably doing fantastic work because you're able to, even though your client or patient is talking, perhaps you are able to be present while you listen instead of interpreting everything, but be the consciousness. Oh. And then perhaps some awakening can happen if you embody presence So the little, the big secret, it's not a secret, but it seems to be a secret, to be aware that you're conscious, to be aware of yourself as consciousness, as awareness, as presence, to sense the beingness of you, which is not the you, the limited you, it's actually the beingness of the universe in you. That's an amazing, the awakening of this transcendent dimension to who you are. So in English, we don't have a word that applies to both men and women. I don't know if in Swedish, in German you have the word Mensch, which means it's man and woman. But the English language doesn't have that. So you have to say human being. Human being, and that's great. I like that because I realize that points to the two dimensions that constitute your reality.
Are you unisex?
You are a human, undoubtedly, which means you have a past, you have mental emotional conditioning that makes up the person, or the ego, the personality. You have a life situation, you are a human, and you have your desires as a human, you have your goals, and so on, all the things that you experience as a human, right, okay. But what about being? The being dimension is overlooked by most humans. They are lost in their human nature. They are completely unaware of the transcendent dimension of consciousness that actually is the essential reality to who or what they are. I sometimes call it your essence identity. The essence, your essence identity is the being. And the being is timeless. The being is consciousness itself. And then there's the human, and the two are together. And if you can awaken to the beingness of you, then of course you continue to be a human until you are no longer, until the body dissolves. But in the meantime, your task, your mission, your purpose is to, as a human, to also embody the being. Then you have both dimensions in your life. The limited dimension of here that is temporal, inseparable from time, and you have the transcendent dimension to who you are in the timeless realm of consciousness itself. And that is a continuous realization. At first it may only come to you as glimpses in brief moments. And then you feel suddenly a sense of lightness and very peaceful but very intensely alive. And you go, oh. And you may realize you're not thinking in those moments. Thinking has subsided, but you haven't fallen asleep. You're awake. And then you may remember those moments that this was so wonderful. Sometimes it happens when you go into nature. If you can really be there, nature can help you in your awakening. If you can really be there with all the senses and be aware of the awareness itself when you're out there in nature. And sometimes it can happen to some humans almost accidentally. They're out and they're climbing a mountain, or they're swimming, or somewhere in nature, and suddenly the person subsides and just an awareness arises, and they go, wow. Oh. And they think it's been caused by the beauty that they see, but it's not really that. It's being caused by the cessation of thinking. And you can have that in the middle of a city. And this is your continuous practice, are you able to, as much as possible, let go of habitual, especially habitual, useless, self-serving thinking that only feeds the fictitious self, the ego, the entity, that actually loves its problems. Well, it says, no, I don't love my problems. Yes, you do, because you talk and think about them continuously. In fact, you create them through unconscious thinking. You create them. No, I don't. Yes, you do. And it's all and that this entity then becomes, at first you have glimpses, sometimes accidental, and they may only be a few seconds, and then perhaps a little bit longer, and then the two are gradually, the being and the human, kind of merge. The being seeps into the human, and so the human, the conditioned entity, the human, becomes less and less obnoxious and less dysfunctional and less creating completely unnecessary and absurd suffering for yourself and others. Completely unnecessary and absurd suffering created unconsciously by the ego, this entity, in its attempt to strengthen itself. It loves its problems and its enemies. Oh, it feels much bigger. Anger is so great, really, and you can talk about it all the time. This is completely asleep. And so, as the awakening happens, presence begins to sometimes completely replace the person, and at other times it kind of shines through the person in the same way that a light shines through the lampshade. The light shines through the lampshade, and the person still, yes, the person still has its conditioning to some extent, and can never be totally free of the conditioning. There's always certain ways in which you behave. That's part to do with how you were brought up, your environment, all the conditioning, the country, even the language that you speak is the form of mental conditioning. All those things, they are still there, but the most dysfunctional and unhappiness creating patterns, they subside more and more. Certain patterns remain as long as you are a person, a human. Certain patterns remain, but not the heavy, deeply unhappy and obnoxious and patterns. They gradually dissolve, and all is left in certain idiosyncrasies in your personality and so on. That's okay. So that the person remains, but it undergoes a substantial transformation. It no longer creates suffering.
A federal lawsuit claiming corruption from 2022 is now coming to light. This comes after Coleman County officials announced the arrests and indictments of 5 Hansville police officers, including the department's chief.
Tonight, people across Hansville are reacting to the stunning breach of trust within their police department. The overwhelming sentiment, it's a disgrace.
Hansville Police Department is now being called a criminal enterprise after the chief of police and 4 officers were hauled off in handcuffs.
Here we are, the beautiful, the one, the only Hansville Police Department. A while back, Justin and I went to a town in Alabama called Hansville. I met Justin there. I drove up from Florida. He came down from Arkansas. We were covering the fact that the entire police department had been suspended. And Justin had actually been there prior to us going there together. When was it you went there the first time? We went in June.
Dangerous social media
March or
challenge.
April.
And we talked
He
about
went
it
there,
before,
and
but it's called the
I actually have a
Benadryl
video
challenge.
for
This
us
was
to talk
Abigail
about
Franklin
today.
told us
What
now
actually
after talking
happened
with his
is we
teen's
went to
father, Abby, this is
Hansville.
dangerous.
We
It
filmed
really
a
is.
few
Like Dylan
things,
Richard
so
Press and
I put
Coleman
together
News
this
are hoping
video
to make
of
parents aware
the
of
things
this
that we
dangerous
did while we were
so-called
there, and also explaining the whole reason why we were there in the first place. Kind of combining elements of your original video and the footage we shot while we were there. I guess the only thing to do now is
You got this. You're a fighter.
An Enid father speaking out as his daughter is fighting for her life in the hospital after participating in a deadly social media challenge.
I just want everybody to be aware where they can educate their kids. But these challenges
Last April 2024,
are just
after
silly.
using a long list of
Remember, yeah, the Tide
So it
Pods.
don't happen again.
Preston describes his daughter Leah as the most giving person in the world with a contagious laugh.
Her eyes,
Yeah, and
her smile,
when was that? Look at when that was.
the way she
After
just
the
do
death
her
of the
hair.
dispatcher in April,
I think that was-
resigned,
yeah.
and the mayor
She-
appointed a new chief. But the
Very
police department
characteristic.
still
Her
somehow
personality.
successfully
Leah has
covered
been
this up and
hospitalized at
kept it back.
Integris
This is
Baptist
just an
for
example
days
of
after
some of
doing the so-called Benadryl challenge. It's a challenge Dr. Ryan Brown at
Yeah.
Oklahoma
Yeah,
Children's says
exactly.
is extremely dangerous.
When you take the Benadryl, the diphenhydramine, in excessiveness, it can lead to seizures and cardiac arrhythmias. And sometimes those cardiac arrhythmias lead to cardiac arrest, which can lead to no blood to the
Yeah,
brain,
that was,
which can lead to brain death.
Preston says Leah began having seizures and was taken to the emergency room in Enid, thinking it was related to her history of asthma. But that's when things took a turn.
I was met by the chaplain.
Yeah, and it seems like those were saying.
Preston says Leah has tried the challenge in the past, and all her current symptoms are pointing back to the Benadryl challenge. Leah is still in the hospital. Preston says multiple tests show she has zero brain activity.
I don't even want to think about it.
Yeah.
Funeral because I feel like there's still hope and everybody's like
Education and learning.
giving up too soon.
Doing what you're doing, I
I
guess.
believe in miracles. She was definitely a miracle baby.
because of what she knew.
First of all, I
Leah
want you
is
guys to
still in the
remember
hospital on
this
a
woman
breathing
person
tube
on
while
here
doctors
will
complete
talk.
more tests.
Alright? Because she kind of plays an important
The
role in this. This is where we're getting to some of the updates to this story. So when Justin went there the first time,
Wilcox, she
that was the
claims that she
extent
knew
of
about
what
the corruption
essentially had
before the
happened.
death of the
They were to
dispatcher
the point
and that she
of
received death.
they had placed all their officers on administrative leave with the exception of 4 of them who voluntarily resigned. Then there had been federal indictments. Yeah, here we go. Here are the people who faced indictments. They're out on bond right now.
Yeah.
So since then, the Hansville City Council voted to suspend the entire department. Once everyone got charged and everyone was placed on administrative leave, they still had a police department, technically, just no employees. After, all the federal indictments came, they realized that due to the nature of how the evidence room had been kept, that they weren't going to be able to prosecute several cases, and they ended up dismissing 58 felony cases, most of them dealing with drugs, but essentially they did not have the evidence. After they allowed unfettered access to their evidence room, they couldn't trust the legitimacy of any of the evidence in that room. I added some images here of the evidence room because I wanted you guys to see this about how unkept and just kind of insane this is for an evidence room to look like this. And to give you an idea, so here's the evidence here's what happened in this evidence room. There were several items missing, including 67 oxycodone pills, 39 gabapentin pills, 1.5 grams of cocaine, and a 25 caliber handgun. And the audit that was conducted by the federal agency also found 30 undocumented firearms. And I'm assuming that that's what we're looking at here in this image.
So people are stealing not only drugs, but pistols. And what's hilarious, you steal a 25 caliber. That is so easy to pinpoint. Like, go find the one guy looking for 25 caliber in town. That's the guy that has the gun. Good.
Seriously. So how they were getting into the evidence room, someone chiseled out a brick in the concrete wall. And if you see on the right-hand side of this photo, there's a broom. They were using that broomstick right there to stick into the hole and turn the knob on the other side of the evidence room door to open it. And there's actually a photo this guy. There's actually 2 photos of this guy doing this, and in the other photo you can clearly see he's using the broom. We don't know who this guy is. His identity has not been released, but this image shows you exactly what they were doing and how they managed to accomplish getting inside that room. So that's pretty much all of the updates up to this point, up to the point that Justin and I decided to go there. The next thing you're about to see is us go in there and just figuring out what was going on. So, hey, what's up, guys? I'm here at the Hanceville Municipal Complex, as the building is appropriately named. This served as the police department, city council, city hall, basically all the city functions of this beautiful town. And today I'm joined by none other than Justin from The Random Patriot, who has actually been here before.
Yeah, I was here a few months ago. I really appreciate you meeting me here. I cannot wait to do a follow-up on this because a lot has happened since I was here before.
And we're gonna figure out what that is.
Oh, were you listening to all his farts? If he farts though, it's on it.
This is what you call professional, thorough, credentialed journalism.
I will be leaving a link to that fart track on my channel if anyone needs it.
That's it.
All right, here we are, the beautiful, the one, the only Hanceville Police Department. Except it doesn't exist anymore because everyone's fired. And a lot of them are facing criminal charges. As you can see, this was once upon a time a very secure building, but not secure enough for the people that actually worked here. Yeah, we can't go in here right now, not at least at this entrance, and I'm pretty sure that the entire police department wing of this building is shut down right now, rightfully so. But we're gonna walk around and check things out and go to this city council meeting later and just get some answers if we can. We're going inside here, we're just gonna check out this building, what used to be the police department. Here is the beautiful leadership of the town of Hanceville, who have actually taken some pretty serious steps to make sure that this was handled appropriately. They took all the advice of the grand jury, and they did fire the police officers, so gotta give them credit for that at the very least. As you can tell, this entire building is probably not much more than like 5,000 or 6,000 square feet for basically every service that a municipality can offer to citizens. So, I mean, if that tells you anything about how small this town is, for this doorway here used to lead into the police department. Of course, now it has been locked and not allowed to enter, and they put some black stuff in the window so you can't even look through the doorway. And yeah, you can't go in.
Excuse me, ma'am. Is there any way we could look inside this door? No?
No, it's locked down.
Yes, ma'am. Got it. No problem.
And we were just informed that this entire section of the building is locked down at the moment. I'm assuming that's for some kind of investigation.
What is this?
That's where you order the drugs.
Yeah.
They had to shut this down too. This right here is the drug ordering kiosk that Huntsville used to have. You used to be able to, if you were a police officer, you could just come right up here, swipe your law enforcement credentials, and order up fentanyl, gabapentin, you know, whatever you need.
Get you some Addies and some Gabbies.
Oh, and conveniently enough, if you just didn't happen to have the cash, there is an ATM right here. You know, if you low on drug money, they don't take debit cards, so you gotta get cash.
They make it easy as possible.
Just so you guys know, this person is my cameraman, and I don't want to reveal his identity for no reason. That's why he's blurred out.
And if you don't have money, there is just a hole in the wall where you can just get it out. You don't have to use the kiosk or anything. You just go in there.
Just walk in, reach in the wall, you're good.
You snag it.
Made with real iced tea, real vodka. Let the good times cruise with Sun Cruiser.
Dirigo Federal Credit Union was born and raised here in Maine. And like Mainers, we're built on grit and a lot of gumption. We know your name, we know your story, because real community starts by knowing one another. Visit us today and experience the Dirigo difference.
One decision that I'm most proud of is definitely signing on to go back to school, fulfilling a dream I didn't realize I had. You can do this. It doesn't matter what is happening in your life. This is a doable thing.
So, while we were perusing around this building, basically just filming stuff, waiting for the city council meeting to start and for people to start coming in, we happened to run into Mayor Tommy Sawyer. Before we get into this clip, I think it's important to start building a little bit of context. Okay, so the first thing that I think you should know is that back in April, this article was put out. All right, and it was when the Huntsville police chief resigned and was replaced by the mayor. But it kind of buried it in this lead here is the fact that the assistant police chief, Adam Hatter, also gave his notice of retirement. But the entire rest of this article doesn't mention anything about him. The rest of this article is all about Chief Howell and his resignation. That's interesting. The reason that's interesting is because Adam, this guy Hatter, was actually the one who was over the evidence room. He was the evidence custodian. And how do we know this? Well, Mr. Hatter actually filed a lawsuit 4 days after the individual who overdosed in the room overdosed. If you look at this PDF of the lawsuit, the allegations are that Mr. Hatter was basically forced to resign by the mayor. Mr. Hatter had an argument with Tanya Wilcox, the one who is alleging that she knew things were going on for a long time and that she received threats from the department. Hatter and that woman got into an argument that led to Hatter being forced to resign by the mayor. Now, why this is important is because Hatter was the one who was over the evidence room. And bear in mind, this all happened in April. So several months prior to the August overdose, Hatter was forced out of his position. And in the lawsuit, this bottom section that's highlighted here, he specifically told the mayor, you need to give me time to be able to bring someone else in to be the new custodian of the evidence before you just fire me on the spot. The mayor initially agreed to that. He was like, yeah, we do need to bring someone else to take over this stuff. And then for whatever reason, that same day, he changed his mind and forced Hatter to resign immediately. Hatter ended up resigning, and the mayor wouldn't even let Hatter take his work car home, and it took some convincing for him to even allow another officer to drive Hatter home. So there was clearly some problems between the mayor and Hatter.
So would you say Hatter was mad about all this?
That was a mad Hatter for sure.
He was mad, but it wasn't for 4 months later, 3 months later, that he files a lawsuit after the death of somebody.
Yeah, 4 days after that.
So it isn't like it's the next week or even the next month where he's just like, this is wrong, and I'm going to go file a lawsuit. It's later when somebody actually passes away that he gets really mad. Yeah.
To add something even more interesting to this, that Hatter was actually involved in another civil rights lawsuit from a citizen in Hansville who claimed that he beat him up at a gas station and forced him to leave and then ended up arresting him for disorderly conduct. That federal case was eventually dismissed, but the allegations are there nonetheless. So we can't just say that Hatter was necessarily some good guy trying to prevent the corruption of the evidence. We don't know that. But what we do know is that he was fired, he was the one over the evidence, and 4 months later, someone's ODing on because the evidence room is not being well taken care of. I set up all that because when we get to when we encountered the mayor, it was very interesting because on the way to Hansville, I found this case of Hatter's. So we didn't know all the details. We just knew that there was a lawsuit that had been filed at this time. And that was one of the things we wanted to ask about. I got to give Justin credit where credit is due, because what you're not going to see in this clip that I'm about to play is that we had been engaged in small talk for a couple of minutes prior to this clip. I had asked the mayor if he would be willing to talk to us or make any kind of public statements about anything that's going on. And he was basically like, no. We're not going to talk to anyone about anything, and was just saying that he's not going to answer our question. But Justin, being the fucking champ that he is, didn't take no for an answer and decided to just pitch this out anyway. And this is the result.
I did have one question, if you don't mind. I at least ask. Hatter, he was the guy that was in charge of the evidence room prior to the overdose and stuff. I forget his first name. His last name was Hatter. Is that right?
That was my understanding.
Do you know why he was fired?
Well,
he was let go before the overdose and everything, as far as I was reading.
He actually came out on some of the social media that he actually retired. You know.
Oh, he retired.
He actually retired. Yeah.
Well, there was a quote of him saying that he was let go with no valid reason.
Well, what is said out there.
And there's and he's filing a lawsuit for being let go for no valid reason.
Yeah, he retired. You know.
Gotcha. All right. Well, thank you. Appreciate you, man.
Well, you know, you hear a lot of stuff that's said that, you know.
Yeah.
Some of it, I don't know. I can't answer.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't answer.
We don't expect it. Okay. Were you here when he was let go, or was that the mayor prior to
I just came up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he actually, like I say, requested to retire, so.
Interesting.
Okay.
All right.
See y'all then.
Thank you, sir. See you.
So that's an interesting response there, saying that he requested to retire. Bear in mind, this is in June of the following year. So this lawsuit had been going on for almost 9 months by the time that we had came here and asked him about it. So it's really weird that he denied the fact that Hatter had been wrongfully terminated, and he just basically blatantly ignored the lawsuit aspect of this and tried to play the narrative that it was a voluntary retirement.
Yeah, he said it came out on social media that he retired.
And that's not how it happened.
Like, is that how you answer something? Like, that you were involved in? It came out on social media.
And again, I think what he's actually referring to is just that article we looked at before, where there's literally one sentence saying that he also retired. The entire rest of the article has nothing to do with Hatter. No official statements were made to media about why Hatter retired, and no one knew why until he filed the lawsuit and claimed that he was wrongfully terminated. I'm not sure of the status of that lawsuit now. I think I read somewhere that he had withdrawn it or something to that effect. But The point is, it's kind of weird because this guy, the mayor, definitely knew about this lawsuit. He was personally named in the lawsuit. There's no way he didn't know about it. And here he is basically claiming that it doesn't exist.
Yeah, you and I were kind of talking about that. Like, if you just put our attention on you by lying about it. If you just told us the truth, I mean, okay, thanks for the information, but now I know you're lying. Why are you lying? He didn't want to answer any questions, but the one question he did answer was a complete lie.
Yeah, no doubt. So yeah, we did
Well, it's
eventually.
those situations where it's like you already know the answer.
Check out the room and go to the meeting.
Right, so it's
this
just
is
a matter
where
of
we
wanting
went to the
other
meeting,
people to
watched everything. The main
acknowledge
things that
it.
were being
And
discussed.
they're
at
pretty
this
much
meeting,
showing how
basically
even
they were
when
trying to
everybody
figure out
knows
if
the
they want to
truth,
bring in a
obviously.
third party to draft new
But yet the
policies
people
and
at those
act as
environments
a
are like,
liaison
hey,
between
retired.
the
That's
district
all I
attorney in
know.
Hanceville
That's all I
and
gotta
the
say about it.
Coleman
I know some
Sheriff's-
things are
Coleman
sad. What
Sheriff's
can you do?
Department.
Shit happens.
You know, they took over the police.
I know, it's just
aspects
it's
of this
pretty much
case
just showing that.
once
There's
they
nothing what's there to
disbanded
prove.
the original police department, so they needed someone to come in and
Exactly.
lay the foundation for a new
Help the
police
fucking
department.
kids, right?
And that's essentially what this entire meeting was about. While we were
That's just
there,
where we're at
we
in this
weren't
class.
the
I know
only
just these
ones
things
there,
we see
I guess,
over and over
covering
and
this
over
meeting.
again
There
in
was
these
actually
situations and scenarios
multiple other
with people
news
involved,
agencies there at the
with
time.
others that are
This is
involved with
one of
these
them.
kind of
As you
drugs,
can see, we call it
fraud,
behind
money
the scenes
scams,
footage.
whatever it is, how they all
And
stay
I wanted
silent,
to show
protect
you
each
guys
other.
the
They
result
definitely
of
don't want to
their
talk about
coverage
any
of the
side
meeting,
shows that
just
might
to
be
give you a
fucking
good
the
sense of, like,
kids
what actually took
being
place
aided
there.
and abetted
City Hall did not want to go on
by some of them
camera
doing
tonight,
investigations on
but they
dangerous
took a new
cartel
position.
people in the
So the
neighborhood.
neighbors are watching closely. Bonnie Hamrick has
Schizos,
lived in Hansville for
shoplifters,
59
dangerous
years. She knows
non-vaxxers.
the city and she knows what it's lacking.
Not having something
I don't know, was he
close
in uniform?
does seem to make a difference.
Right, so no, we showed you all this. 2010, 11, 12. They vaccinated our children behind our back in 2013, right, Dr. Baker?
Council was taking steps to
Right, Winthrop Family
get the police department
Practice.
back on its
Right,
feet.
Dr. Baker?
City leaders voting to allow
You sick
Mayor Jimmy
fucks.
Sawyer
Yeah, and the
to
mandates
contract
they're
with
doing and how they're
consultants
helping
for
these
correct policies
punks.
and procedures
And it
for
just
the
goes back and
police
forth with them and the fear
The mayor did not
propaganda
want
with
to
the
discuss this new
non-vaxxers
position
and
with WBRC, but he did
dangerous
say he wants
cartel
to
people.
crystal
I know, and some
clear
will actually say, well, no, it really wasn't the
department,
vaccine
rather
thing.
than creation
We
of
were
a
investigating the
position
cartel
serve as a
stuff, but because they were
liaison
so
between the sheriff's office
caught up with the
and district
vaccine
attorney's
stuff, yeah, we
office.
blended
It's
in with
still
that.
unclear who the
And then
spokesperson
you have
will
them
be.
going
That's
each and
what
every
Council
way,
President Cornelius
depending
said
on
to
who
his
they are and what their
vote.
personal fucking
However, the
motives
rest
and
of the
beliefs are, and
council
it's so
agreed to pay
fucking
the
sick and
consultant up to
disgusting.
$42,000
Anybody have any
for a 6-month
suggestions as to how we can get the facts reported on here? Get these children some help, hostages that have been fucked and tortured for years. Bring understanding and clarity as to how these punks get away with it, how they feed it out to investigators, military forces, microchipping it, putting it on the street. I know they're selling these microchips for $100. There's like millions of horrible abuse on it. Oh my god. Where's all this abuse taking place? You know what? Most of it's fake. You know, these punks and druggies are just beating women in burqas and stuff like that. They don't really even wear burqas. That's a Chinese lady. When you look under there, wake up. Anyways, it's not even a lady actually.
Was being kind of.
I think it was an
He
Eskimo.
sat by himself at the back of the room. No one was with him.
Eskimo.
I actually saw one of the reporters
skimmick.
from one of the local news agencies come up and ask him
Fuck
who
off.
he was
Oh, man, he's
and
such
if
an
he'd like to
idiot.
say anything to them, and he refused to talk. He didn't want to talk to anyone.
Would you want a
from
Bud
the
Light?
media. And I suspected
hate
at the
beer.
time that he probably
I really
had
hate it.
something
I used to
do
drink it as a
with
teenager.
the whole reason
I don't
for
like
this
the smell
meeting,
of
which
it.
was about the
Just the
contracting that
thought of
third
it.
party.
No, I
And
don't drink
It turns
alcohol.
out that
The man
was
tasked
the
with
case.
helping the city of Hansville.
I'm a mature adult, and if I wanted to, I can take a few sips of wine.
Start from the ground up.
David Thompson was introduced at tonight's meeting.
No, I like to stay away from the hard stuff. Although I could handle a few sips if I wanted to. If I wanted to, I could drink extra.
From our formal police department.
Show you an example.
Which hopefully in the future we'll be able to rebranded.
This morning
It
we've
will
had
be
2
now,
coffees
Public
and we're
Safety
drinking a water now.
Commission.
It's a great opportunity for the city to start a whole
And
new
then we're gonna go make a
situation where it's
Celsius.
built from the ground up. So
And
That's the
then
optimism of a man who just secured
I don't
a
know.
$42,000
Probably going to be doing some
contract.
coloring, reading, and stretches. Pop in some curly fries.
it's also a great opportunity.
Got a good day ahead
to
of
build a
us. Got a
foundation
nice
and
day
build things
planned.
the right way.
How about
I started
you?
in law enforcement when I was 14 years old as an explorer at the Trussville Police Department. I became a deputy sheriff when I was 21 years old. I served 30 years with
Where do you get all that energy from?
WGU's healthcare
Well-
and nursing degrees prepare.
What do you do to be so peppy, energetic? Where do you get it from? I don't think it's just one thing. I think it's a combination of getting adequate sleep, a nice balanced diet, getting nutrients, good movement. I think it's a combination of a lot of different things. Mental state, too, I think. Are you always in like a doomsday looking for trouble and the bad in people? Or are you the kind of person that loves life? Human beings, you give people the benefit of the doubt. You don't really look for imperfections. You don't necessarily look for anything to compliment either. It just kind of might come out. You see something like, oh, I like the color of your nails. I say that all the time to people. Sometimes I see a really cool, unique color. It's almost like sometimes you're driving up the road and you see a car. They can't hear you, but sometimes I'll say like, oh, that's a cool looking car. See that color? It's like a hyper color car. It's a very unique color. You don't see that too often. Right. I mean, if they were in the room with you, you'd probably say it to them, hey, I really like the color of that car. But they probably wouldn't be in their car. If you were in the same room with a person, they're not going to be in their car. You might have seen them out in the parking lot, and then when you're in there, you'd be like, hey, saw you pulling in those wheels. The color of that car is really cool. What's it called? Is it like a fuchsia? Sparkly. Might be a shirt. Wow, that color combination is so cool. It's very eye-catching. Relaxing, too. Huh. Right, but I mean, if you don't like something, it's usually something you're not going to say, oh, that's gross. Why would you wear that? Ugh. I don't like that color at all. So either way, if you're the person getting the compliment or the, what do they call that? Constructive criticism, rude opinion, whatever. Either one, when you can take either one with the same whatever. You like the color of my shirt? Thank you. You don't like the color of my shirt? You think it's gross? Okay. It's alright. We all have our taste preferences, I guess. I mean, I usually don't say so, but for class, you usually just walk away. But I find it amazing, right? Like, why would you take your time to go tell somebody you don't like the color of their shirt? I mean, I get it if you want to be like, hey, you got a stain on your shirt and you're trying to be nice and help them. Did you know it looks like somebody splattered blood or red ink or something on the back of your shirt? Yeah, it's like they splattered ink on your shirt. Did you feel it? That's a pretty thick shirt. Yeah, it looks like I didn't know if you knew it was there. It actually looks kind of cool. It's very becoming on you. Brings out the color of your eyes. Those red beady eyes. I'm sorry. I know, right? Oh, good. I find it sad that you look to find the bad in people. I'm sorry that you're living in that kind of mental prison. Try not to let it rub off on others, eh? Shh, quiet down with your rude opinions. You got a booger on your shirt. Mind your business. Just worry about your own shirt. Just thought I'd let you know you're covered in snot. Okay. You got toilet paper hanging out the back of your skirt. I know, right? Remember that? Mom had toilet paper hanging out the back of her skirt. Minding my own business. Right? And we walked around that store for her skirt was tucked up too, and she had on pantyhose that were see-through, and she had no underwear. Now, can you see? Sometimes people might be like, "All right, take some more off." And other times people cover that up, lady. I smell old lady crotch. Where's that coming from? But anyways, we walked around the store. I think it was Rennie's out in Gardner for quite a while. And finally some woman came up to her and said, "Ma'am, your skirt's tucked in your shirt with toilet paper." She didn't even say thank you to the woman. She just looked back at me with this evil stare, like it was my fault. Oh, life is good. Life is good. You grab a hold of those things that fulfill your soul when you can, you know. You know those things. What do they say? It feeds the soul. Chicken soup for the soul. Chicken soup. I hate fucking chicken soup. What a dumb book. I mean, didn't anybody think you're gonna lose a whole demographic of people that don't like chicken soup or eat meat? I'm gonna talk about the angry vegans again. Remember when someone made that comment? I'm sorry. It's so funny. I'm drooling on myself. I know sometimes I just laugh so hard. It happens, especially with all my cracked teeth and my fucked up tongue. The muscles of my tongue over the years, trying to practice the pronunciations, and especially Arabic. Still, all I can say is I love you. I think it's I love you. Make them say Bayarkatum. Am I saying it right? Make them say Bayarkatum. I used to think it was funny because I said, it sounds like you're saying make them say bear come. Like Bayer, you know, like Bayer, the medication. But Bayer, like the word bear with a heavy accent. Bear? Make them say bear, Katum. Is that how you say it? Hold on. I'm going to look it up. And I'll let the machine say it. You can. They always laugh. Sometimes the whistles come out when I talk again because of the spaces and cracks in my teeth. Stop it. Hold on. Is Urdu, right? Urdu. Oh, wait, I need English. English to Urdu. Was I way off? Mintam si playar kartakan. I was way off.
मैं तुमसे प्यार करता हूँ. मैं तुमसे प्यार करता हूँ मैं तुमसे प्यार करता हूँ
I'm sorry.
मैं तुमसे प्यार करता हूँ मैं तुमसे प्यार करता हूँ मैं तुमसे प्यार करता हूँ मैं तुमसे प्यार करता हूँ
I can't say it.
मैं तुमसे प्यार करता हूँ
Mintim say player katahun. Is that close? Mintim say player katahun.
मैं तुमसे प्यार करता हूँ
Mintim say player katahun. Mintim say player katahun. Is that better? Practicing. I might have to go to Pakistan one day and say I love you. Excuse me. Mind your business.
Just said patients might see benefits cut in 2027. That's why you need an advocate. So I want to tell you about this video sponsor, Chapter. My dad's on Medicare, and it's frustrating, especially if you're trying to navigate your options with a flip phone like he is.
Right.
That's what's great about Chapter.
They do the tones, like Fantasia type stuff. If you were to hear. I think I'm going to go to the other room. I'm losing my hearing again. We're underwater, boss. Boss, I can't hear nothing again. Keep the sharp objects in the books. Anyways, all right. I'm gonna go refill my water. I'm actually gonna make a Celsius. Oh man. You're welcome. Thank you. You like curly fries too? Well, we're either a match made in heaven or we should stay away from each other. I'm gonna eat all my curly fries. Don't worry, we have a lot. Enough for everybody. There's room for everybody. There's room. Well, there's room. We got plenty of room. You remember what happened the last time you said that, right? I know. What are they fucking doing? Special delivery. All right, I'm going to make a Celsius. I'm trying to finish this water. Just dragging it out. I'm almost at an hour. We got about 40 seconds left. 34. It's a hard day's work.
Okay, I'm done arguing. Provide me your driver's license, or we're gonna get out of the car and you're gonna be placed under arrest.
I hear what you're saying.
Okay, so where's your driver's license at?
15 seconds.
I'm trying to get that out. I feel like at this point,
10.
I'm trying to tell you. I wasn't even trying to pick up my kid.
5.
So your kid's here?
Yes. 3.
Did you have them?
1.